In 2003, Clinton, instead of globalization, he said, I prefer the term of interdependence. We cannot escape each other. The challenges that will dominate the next few decades. Like his dad, George Bush II, 2002, said America supports the international development goals and the UN's Millennium Documents. Let me throw this at you. The UN Charter is based on the Russian Constitution. And we have proof of document. A communist spy, Alger Hiss, who drafted the UN's Charter. By now, you should be losing all faith in any party. In the UN's World Constitution, there is a phrase, the age of the nations must end. And like I said before, all walls or barriers are down. The economics were torn down in 1944 with the birth of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. The political barriers were torn down in 1945 with the UN's birth. Trade barriers in 1994 with the birth and the World Trade Organization. The legal barriers in 1998 with the birth of the International Criminal Court. See if this one doesn't raise the head of the red solar serpent on your CD. The walls between military and intelligence came down in 2001 as a result of 9/11. Now you must ask yourself, my friend, what really occurred at 9/11? Reagan's idea opened the door for Bill Clinton's in 1994, and here we go, reinventing government, which introduced the concept of public-private partnership, a buyout of government by business. 5 years ago, under Bush II, this buyout public-private partnership has escalated. Almost half, 23 states, have caved into the Fabian socialistic mission. What's happening? Simply the gutting of our government. Chicago sold their toll road. It was called the Skyway for $1.8 billion to Spain. It's an everyday occurrence. States are busy selling their infrastructure to the highest bidder. All this sell-off leads to the Fabian Society. In 1905, the Fabian Society hosted and loaned money to the Bolshevik communists for the purpose of revolution in Russia. John Keynes, a member of the Fabian Society, later boasted he shared the Bolsheviks' desire to destroy the free enterprise system by stating, now remember this, that his economic ideas were going to be euthanasia of capitalism. Mussolini read some of Keynes' works and said, fascism entirely agrees with Keynes, despite the fact that he's a liberal. Let's move this up to the present tense. Keynes, a good British socialist, said government should borrow money to spend on public works, and that would create jobs and increase the purchasing power. Pray tell me, who said that of recent? No other than Bush II, including the Speaker of the House. All money borrowed for the stimulus package 2008 came from Red China. When Bush I was asked about his regrets while in the Oval Office, he had two. First, that he couldn't and didn't capture Saddam Hussein. Last, he didn't see the mandate of the UN. In 2006, on PBC, Al Gore said the U.S. would soon become a totalitarian state. Former Treasury Secretary John Snow signaled the economic structure change in 2004 and said all countries are interdependent. The man who drafted the UN, Alger Hiss, was a communist and a Soviet agent. Many of the British prime ministers have been belong to the Socialist International, including Tony Blair, Bush II's friend, who, by the way, Tony is coming to Yale in 2009. His topic to speak about faith and globalization. I wonder what faith Tony is going to speak about. Maybe Gaia? Lenin said communism is socialism in a hurry. The best way to destroy the capitalist system is to debauch the currency. The goal of the communism, or the goal of socialism, is communist. The UN in 2005 celebrated their 60th birthday. Is this just a coincidence that the Mayan witchcraft calendar runs out in 2013? It's very possible before the UN's 66th birthday, Bush 1 will get his wish. If you add up the letters in United Nations, they equal 13. If you add up the letters found in Mother Earth, it equals 11. If you count the spaces inside the circle of the UN symbol, they equal 33. The UN lives by the computer. If you give each letter of the alphabet a corresponding number, such as A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, and so forth, then take that letter times 6, the word computer equals 666. The UN manual is made up of 1,300 pages of rules and taxes. That means that the UN is running the world 24/7. 24/7 originated from witchcraft, and if you add up 2, 4, and 7, it equals 13. All of these numbers are occultic in nature. The UN is running the planet through what they call sustainable development. Their agenda is to reduce the population. Does that surprise you? That's what Bill Clinton's goal was. Into my research, I came across a Dr. Joseph Wiesenbaum of MTI, which is Massachusetts Institution of Technology. The professor said that the computer system could be compared with the National Socialism. This is going to tell you a lot. The UN's constitution comes from Russia, and they're going to pull this thing off by the use of computer. As I said in 1992, Rio, or Reshaping International Order, began in that time. 1 year later, in 1993, Mikhail Gorbachev came up with the Green Cross International. Now, when you think about a cross, someone dies. The next piece you're going to hear came through John Hagee, and you're not going to have to wonder why or who is going to die. Actually, the report that you're going to hear came from when John Kennedy was still the president. So this has been planned for a long time. In fact, in the book of Daniel, it says that the Antichrist will come and he will change the laws and the times. And he will cause craft to prosper in his hands. He will be of the occult and he'll be a dictator.
1963, 15 members of the Council on Foreign Relations who were in the Kennedy administration met at Iron Mountain, New York to promote their goals for the New World Order. This super secret meeting was held to structure the future of the world. The super secret report, called the Report from Iron Mountain, says on page 66, quote, "It may be that gross pollution," now get that first phrase, "it may be that gross pollution of the environment can eventually replace the possibility of mass destruction by nuclear weapons as the apparent threat to the survival of mankind." Notice the words, "as the apparent threat." In other words, we want to manipulate the people with the fear that we're going to poison the earth with pollution so we can control their lives, control their income, control the economy with their approval so we can do what we want to do all of the time.
If you caught what John Hagee said, let's now catapult all the way up to the year 2009. Obama, in his cabinet, placed 2 socialists. The first one was Mrs. Liebman, and the second one was a climate czar. Her name, Carol Browner, and Fox News picked up on it.
Until last week, Carol Browner was listed as a leader of a socialist group called Commission for a Sustainable World Society. And this group advocates global governance, believing that rich countries like the United States have an obligation to shrink their economies and their energy use to limit global warming.
Not only is she a socialist, but she's connected to the Socialist International, the same one Tony Blair is. She's connected to the Center for American Progress. Under Clinton, she was the EPA. Are you connecting the dots? Socialism and occultism work hand in hand. Crowley actually told the Russian government that he would work to help them destroy America.